Okay, here we go. 3 races to go. Oscar Piastri versus Lando Norris versus Max Verstappen. It's a bit of a question mark, but look, we are down to the final 3 races of the Formula 1 2025 season. And let me tell you something, the Formula 1 2025 season has been nothing short of phenomenal. Many people are talking about how Formula 1 is boring. It's always the same driver winning every single race. Not this year. This year has been absolutely great. We've had the likes, of course, Max Verstappen winning Formula 1 races. But listen, Max Verstappen winning Formula 1 races in 2025 is still shocking because the Red Bull car this year in 2025 was an absolute basket case. It wasn't good. It wasn't good enough whatsoever, okay? So let's park that to one side. We've had Lando Norris winning races. He's won 7 races in Formula 1 at the time of recording this season. So too has Oscar Piastri. The McLarens have been nothing short of phenomenal in terms of just the car that they've set up, the car they've brought to the 2025 season, and that goes massive credit to everyone in the McLaren camp, of course. So they've been sharing the race wins this season. But we've also sprinkled a little bit of George Russell in there. George Russell has won a Formula 1 race in 2025, and so it mixes up the pack a little bit, okay? We've had various different types of drivers. We've had various people on the podium, for goodness sake, okay? Nico Hülkenberg has been on the podium, for goodness sake, this season. The Ferraris, Mr. Charles Leclerc has been on the podium way more than I think they should have been. Now, when I say that with a pinch of salt, only because the way Ferrari began 2025, it looked like there was no hope. It looked like there was nothing good that was going to come of them this season. However, as the season has gone on, they've not had a good car whatsoever, but Charles Leclerc has still managed to get on those podiums. Lewis Hamilton, for goodness sake, won the Sprint Grand Prix in China. That feels like it was about 10 years ago, okay? And he got sprint pole as well. So the quali pace is there from certain man. We've got Kimi Antonelli as well hitting those podiums, okay? This is unbelievable scenes. Carlos Sainz on the podium? You better believe it, okay? So it's been a glorious 2025 season, and now we're heading to the crunch. The final 3 are battling it out for the Formula 1 2025 season, and let me tell you something, I wouldn't put any money on anybody. Or let me say it this way, I wouldn't bet against anybody, okay? Max Verstappen is more than capable. Somehow in the Red Bull that has been 2025, which has been shambolic, but now they've had a few upgrades towards the end, Max Verstappen is doing absolutely brilliantly in that Red Bull. They might be a bit too far. I think it's 40 plus points, nearly 50 points away from the top of the tree. And it might mean that, you know what, it's too much for Max Verstappen to do because he has to win the last remaining races. He has to hope there's DNFs left, right and center for those McLaren boys. Will it happen? I highly doubt it, but I can't bet against him. Formula 1 is crazy. In June, okay, after the Canadian Grand Prix, I think it was, after round 10, I made a video about Oscar Piastri winning the title already. The title is done, it's finished, it's over. I made that video with full of confidence, knowing that Oscar Piastri will be your Formula 1 world champion. And look at it now. Formula 1 is such a crazy sport. And listen, maybe I've got the prediction wrong, but you know what? I'm not going to change my prediction because Formula 1 is that volatile. And yes, there's 3 races to go. One of those includes a sprint, which is in Qatar. Okay, the last 3 races, Las Vegas, Qatar, and then Abu Dhabi. Those are your last 3 with a sprint in that Qatar Grand Prix. And honestly, people will be shocked if Oscar wins the title from here because of his deficit at this moment in time. But I will say this, Formula 1 is that cruel. Formula 1 is that crazy. It's that scary that you cannot necessarily put your whole life onto it. You can't just assume that the title is now wrapped up. Because let me tell you something right now, it is nowhere near wrapped up. This resurgence from Lando Norris, by the way, we've seen since the summer break, is not something we saw all season long. It all of a sudden has come into play. He's got his ducks in a row. He's been phenomenal the last 2 Grand Prix, Brazil and in Mexico. He's done nothing but be phenomenal in those Grand Prix weekends. And that we know that there's a pace. We know that Lando Norris has the talent. We know that he's got the pace. We know that he's able to do these things. But we hadn't seen it on a consistent basis this season. And that was the reason why he was lagging behind Oscar Piastri, because Oscar Piastri was simply consistent from the start of the season up until at least the summer break. This man was just consistent. He was very, very good week in, week out. His lowest form would probably be a 7 out of 10, and that's pretty good. Whereas Lando Norris, you could get a 5 out of 10 one race weekend, and then you can get a 9 out of 10 the next race weekend. And so Formula 1 is about consistency. It's about collecting the right points, the right amount of points at the right time of a season. It's not just about what you do one day, one weekend, maybe 1 month. You have to do it over the course, and with 24 races, I mean, there is a lot of opportunity to gain points, but there's a lot of opportunity to lose and miss out points and flop your title challenges. Just like what we're seeing fall before our very eyes with Oscar Piastri. Oscar's form right now is absolutely horrendous. We don't know what's happening. What is going on with Oscar? What's happened mentally? The thing that we praised him about the most during the course of the season is how, measured he is. He seems calm, cool, collected. And now all of a sudden we can't seem to find that calm, cool, collected Oscar. Since Baku, he has been rattled. He has not recovered. He has not recovered whatsoever since the Baku Grand Prix, the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. And I'm honestly shocked to say this, that Oscar, trailing, was it 24 points or 25 points at the time of recording behind Lando Norris when he was a good 8-9 points ahead, which seemed difficult for Lando Norris to overcome simply because of how good Oscar was. Not because of Lando Norris's talent. In fact, they've got the car. So they've got the car, they've got the talent, but Oscar was just the more consistent over time. And the thing with Max Verstappen, when the start of the season was as horrendous as it was, he had an awful car. He had a dreadful car. And then we saw him put into place somehow, he managed to put in performances that we were like, hang on a damn minute, what's going on here? This guy was getting on pole position. He was getting and winning races in the dud Red Bull. We have to admit, after the summer break, during that European round, the Red Bull turned up the notch. They turned on the gas, they moved up a level, and they've got better and better as the season has gone on. Obviously, the things with Christian Horner and then Laurent Mekies coming into the team, a lot has changed and a lot has been very different. And even just the performance that Max Verstappen had in Brazil should ring alarm bells to the McLarens of this world and to the Formula One world in general, at large. Because what we saw Max Verstappen do in Brazil was actually quite phenomenal. He started on the pit lane and he ended up on the podium. No one has ever done that in Formula One history. No one. We've seen people start like maybe P17, and win the race. In fact, I think Max did it last year or the year before, right? So it's, this has been common. I've seen Lewis Hamilton do it in his heyday as well. So it's not been that crazy to overcome so many places in the Brazilian Grand Prix. It's a fantastic circuit. And the fact that we're losing the Sprint Grand Prix next season is it's a howler. Formula One, that's a howler. To lose the Sprint Grand Prix in Brazil, howler. Sao Paulo Grand Prix must have sprint race weekends because it makes it, you look at what Red Bull's performance was on the sprint quali, the sprint day, even Q1. Max was starting P16. He went out on Q1 on pure pace, right? He went out of Q1 on pure pace, meaning that the Red Bull car was horrendous. But that's the good thing about sprint weekends. It throws the cat amongst the pigeons, if you will. It really does make teams think they know what they're doing. They've completely got it wrong, and then they have to go and rejig and change it up. And thankfully for the Parc Fermé rules that have been changed, Red Bull were allowed to actually, just basically start again. Because beforehand, once you knew what happened in the sprint, you kind of knew what happened in the race, and it became a lot more predictable. And I don't think fans were liking that. I don't think it was good from an entertainment value. But these last couple of races are going to be very entertaining. And Max Verstappen, the fact that he's even in this mix, okay, he might be 50 points behind, but the fact that he's very much in this mix speaks volumes to what kind of season we've had in 2024. You can argue and say, listen, maybe because it's bad Oscar or bad Lando throughout the course of the season that Max has even been allowed to be here. But Max has got race wins on pure merit. He's also got pole positions on merit. Now, yes, there have been mistakes from the McLaren boys, because I do think the McLaren is the fastest car in 2025. And they will be the first to say, maybe sector 1 here, sector 2 there, they didn't do too well in when it mattered most in qualifying. But at the same time, because Oscar and Lando are so good, they're taking points off each other. So at the end of the day, that's why the Constructors was almost done when the sun was still out. The Constructors title was done ages ago. We're looking at teams in second place. There's a big battle between, Mercedes, Ferrari, Red Bull for P2 in the Constructors, but they're half the points behind McLaren, more than half even. So, if McLaren are on like 700, teams below them are barely touching 350. They're in the 340s, 320s of this world. So the McLaren has been exceptional, and we've had two good drivers, hence why the Constructors is the way it is. But it also means points are getting eaten away from one driver to the other in the case of Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris, which then brings in a Max Verstappen into the mix. Because if Max is still there, He's always waiting for that opportunity. If the McLaren flops, I better be there. I better be there on pole position. I better be there on the race win. And that's exactly what he's done. But now we get to the final three. Now, as crazy as this sounds, I'm still going to predict Oscar Piastri to be a Formula One world champion. I can't go back on it. And I'm just trusting the Formula One world to do Formula One things. And maybe, just maybe, Oscar's still got a chance to win this title. And listen, I'm a McLaren fan, so I don't care which way it goes. If it's Lando Norris, I'm happy. If it's Oscar Piastri, I'm happy. As long as it's papaya, because if anyhow Max Verstappen wins this Formula One World Championship and makes it 5 titles in a row, honestly, I'm going to quit the sport. I'm going to leave and move on to another sport entirely. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Make sure you share, like, and subscribe. Who is going to win the 2025 Formula One World Championship? Let me know in the comment section down below. YouTube thinks you'll like this video over here, so make sure you go ahead and click on that. And until next time, lights out.